Also in Washington today, lawmakers had a tough time believing testimony from the CEO of General Motors about how she's changing the automaker's corporate culture in response to the long-delayed recall of millions of defective cars. Shares of GM ended a fraction lower today. Phil LeBeau has the latest from Capitol Hill on GM's own investigation into its ignition switch recall and what the company told Congress today.
Back on Capitol Hill to answer questions about faulty ignition switches and the recall of 2.6 million cars, GM CEO Mary Barra maintained that her company is changing.
This is not another business challenge. This is a tragic problem that should never have happened and must never happen again.
For Barra, there were few moments where she was on the hot seat, but time and again, representatives said they are skeptical Barra will be able to remake GM's corporate culture to focus first on safety.
Why the foot dragging? Is this typical of GM's investigations into a product concern? And how do you intend to change this?
Well, we already have with the way we're working through recalls today. We've changed that process. It's expedited, and the most senior levels of the company are involved in it. And I think, again, although I don't want to do recalls, we're going to do what's right for our customers, and we're demonstrating it today.
GM says 13 people were killed in 54 accidents involving vehicles with faulty ignition switches. While the automaker is creating a program to compensate victims, their friends and families say GM as a whole should face criminal charges for the recall scandal.
I was convicted of a felony when GM was the true criminal.
I know accountability will never bring Amber back. It's too late for that. Still, accountability will give tomorrow's Amber a life, a future, and a chance.
The hearing came just days after General Motors recalled another 3.1 million cars to fix keys that could slip and lead those cars to losing power, an issue similar to the cobalt ignition switch recall. Despite recalling more than 20 million vehicles this year, the company's sales in the U.S. have actually increased in 2014, and GM stock has held relatively steady since the recall scandal started.
From a recall perspective, investors are relatively immune. It appears the stock has been less volatile with respect to each subsequent recall headline over the past few weeks.
For Mary Barra, this may not be the last time she testifies on Capitol Hill. A Senate committee may be asking her questions next month. By then, General Motors will have a compensation program in place, and we'll have a better sense of how much the automaker expects to pay victims of the faulty ignition switches. Phil LeBeau, Nightly Business Report, Washington.